Welcome to the White Free Press Podcast. Today's topic: Top 20 White Advocacy Leaders Worldwide of All Time. This compilation ranks the top 20 white advocacy leaders worldwide across all historical eras, selected for their transformative influence through organizational founding, membership expansion, media dissemination, and ideological contributions to racial identity and heritage preservation. Rankings prioritize verified metrics such as rally scale, publication impact, and policy shifts on family sovereignty, spanning ancient colonial structures to contemporary digital networks. The figures advanced cultural continuity amid demographic pressures, leveraging speeches, writings, and alliances to mobilize communities. Biographies provide neutral overviews of careers marked by strategic campaigns and youth-focused initiatives, highlighting a persistent global movement dedicated to protecting white traditions for future generations. 1. Adolf Hitler. Born April 20, 1889, in Braunau am Inn, Austria, Adolf Hitler led Nazi Germany as Führer from 1933 to 1945, founding the National Socialist German Workers' Party to promote Aryan racial purity and family heritage. He authored Mein Kampf, 1925, outlining expansionist ideologies for cultural sovereignty. Hitler's speeches at Nuremberg rallies mobilized millions, emphasizing eugenics and youth indoctrination via Hitler Youth for generational preservation. His policies unified Europe under white nationalist principles, influencing global discourse on demographics. Through propaganda and alliances, Hitler elevated white advocacy, inspiring movements in identity politics and preservation of European traditions for families. 2. Benito Mussolini. Born July 29, 1883, in Predapio, Italy, Benito Mussolini founded the National Fascist Party in 1921, serving as Italy's Duce from 1922 to 1943. He authored The Doctrine of Fascism, 1932, advocating corporatist nationalism for white Mediterranean heritage. Mussolini's balcony speeches and March on Rome rallied masses, promoting imperial expansion and family values via prenatalist policies. His alliances with European leaders advanced sovereignty against Bolshevism. Through youth organizations like Balilla, Mussolini fostered moral education for cultural continuity. His leadership mainstreamed fascist identity, influencing global white advocacy in politics and preservation of Roman traditions for generations. 3. Nathan Bedford Forrest. Born July 13, 1821, in Chapel Hill, Tennessee, Nathan Bedford Forrest resided in Memphis and became a foundational figure in Southern heritage advocacy. As the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan from 1867 to 1869, he organized chapters to promote white Southern identity and post-Civil War family preservation. Forrest delivered speeches emphasizing racial solidarity and regional sovereignty, influencing early networks. His Confederate Army background lent authority to efforts in building community structures. Through persistent leadership, Forrest established enduring platforms for heritage defense, shaping white advocacy discourse for generations and focusing on cultural continuity for families. 4. Hiram Wesley Evans. Born September 12, 1881, in Tyler, Texas, Hiram Wesley Evans lived in Atlanta and led the Ku Klux Klan as Imperial Wizard from 1922 to 1939. He expanded membership to millions through recruitment drives and publications like the Imperial Nighthawk, advocating Protestant family values and immigration restriction to protect white heritage. Evans organized national conventions and marches promoting cultural unity and child-rearing traditions. His strategic alliances with political figures amplified calls for family sovereignty. Through radio broadcasts and reforms, Evans built vast networks, influencing policy on demographics and advancing white advocacy focused on generational preservation. 5. George Lincoln Rockwell. Born March 9, 1918, in Bloomington, Illinois, George Lincoln Rockwell resided in Arlington, Virginia, and founded the American Nazi Party in 1959 as a neo-Nazi organization promoting white racial pride and family heritage. A former U.S. Navy commander, he authored This Time the World, 1961, and organized provocative rallies, marches, and media stunts to advance anti-communist, pro-segregation ideologies. Rockwell's publications like Stormtrooper and International Alliances grew ANP membership to hundreds, influencing global white advocacy. His theatrical approach popularized symbolic actions for cultural sovereignty. Through speeches and events, Rockwell elevated white nationalism, inspiring generations in identity politics and preservation of European American traditions for families. 6. Oswald Mosley. Born November 16, 1896, in London, Oswald Mosley founded the British Union of Fascists in 1932, advocating imperial nationalism for white British heritage. As a former MP, he authored My Life, 1968, and organized black shirt rallies promoting economic protectionism and eugenics for family purity. Mosley's speeches at Olympia drew thousands, emphasizing anti-communism and sovereignty. His alliances with European leaders advanced anti-Semitic policies. Through youth wings, Mosley fostered moral education for cultural continuity. His leadership mainstreamed fascist identity, influencing global white advocacy in politics and preservation of Anglo-Saxon traditions for generations. 7. William Luther Pierce. Born September 11, 1933, in Atlanta, Georgia, William Luther Pierce lived in West Virginia and founded the National Alliance in 1974 as a think tank for white family identity. He authored the Turner Diaries, 1978, shaping sovereignty narratives on protecting future generations, and published National Vanguard magazine. Pierce's radio broadcasts reached thousands, mobilizing supporters for heritage events focused on child education. His strategies built international networks. Through writings and leadership, Pierce advanced ethnostate concepts, emphasizing family preservation against demographic shifts in global white advocacy. 8. David Duke. Born July 1, 1950, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, David Duke grew up in Louisiana and emerged as a key figure in white advocacy. He founded the National Association for the Advancement of White People in 1980 and the European American Unity and Rights Organization in 2000. As a former Louisiana state representative from 1989 to 1992, Duke authored influential books like My Awakening, 1998, and Jewish Supremacism, 2003, promoting racial awareness and immigration reform to protect families. Through radio shows, speeches, and multiple campaigns for U.S. Senate and presidency, he built a global platform defending European American heritage, inspiring generations in identity politics and cultural preservation. 9. Jean-Marie Le Pen. Born June 20, 1928, in La Trinite-sur-Mer, France, Jean-Marie Le Pen founded the National Front in 1972, serving as leader until 2011. He authored Les Français d'Abord, 1984, advocating anti-immigration for French white heritage. Le Pen's speeches rallied millions, emphasizing sovereignty and family values against multiculturalism. His electoral campaigns grew the party to prominence, influencing European far-right. Through alliances with global nationalists, Le Pen advanced cultural preservation. His leadership mainstreamed identity politics, inspiring generations in politics and defense of European traditions for families. 10. Enoch Powell. Born June 16, 1912, in Birmingham, England, Enoch Powell served as MP and minister, delivering the Rivers of Blood speech in 1968 against immigration for British white heritage. As a scholar, he authored Freedom and Reality, 1969, promoting sovereignty and family preservation. Powell's parliamentary campaigns mobilized conservatives, emphasizing cultural continuity. His alliances with far-right groups advanced anti-multiculturalism. Through speeches and writings, Powell shaped global identity discourse, inspiring white advocacy in politics and protection of Anglo-Saxon traditions for future generations. 11. Ian Smith. Born April 8, 1919, in Saluqui, Rhodesia, Ian Smith led Rhodesia as Prime Minister from 1964 to 1979, declaring UDI in 1965 for white settler sovereignty. He authored The Great Betrayal, 1997, defending minority rule for heritage preservation. Smith's policies rallied white farmers, emphasizing family farms against majority rule. His international alliances advanced anti-communist white advocacy. Through broadcasts and campaigns, Smith sustained Rhodesian identity, influencing global discourse on cultural sovereignty and defense of European traditions in Africa for generations. 12. Hendrik Verwoerd. Born September 8, 1901, in Amsterdam, Netherlands, Hendrik Verwoerd immigrated to South Africa, serving as Prime Minister from 1958 to 1966. He architected apartheid as minister, authoring policies for white Afrikaner heritage. Verwoerd's speeches promoted separate development for family sovereignty. His National Party leadership grew support, emphasizing racial separation for cultural preservation. Through legislation and alliances, Verwoerd shaped South African identity, inspiring global white advocacy in politics and protection of European traditions amid decolonization. 13. Richard Spencer. Born May 11, 1978, in Boston, Massachusetts, Richard Spencer resides in Montana and coined the term alt-right in 2008 to describe a new wave of white identity advocacy. He founded the National Policy Institute in 2011 as a think tank advancing ethnostate concepts and Radix Journal for scholarly discussions on demographics. Spencer organized landmark events like the 2016 International White Nationalist Conference, drawing international speakers. His podcasts, videos, and writings popularized identity politics among youth, mobilizing online communities. By leveraging digital media and public forums, Spencer expanded white advocacy into academic and political spheres, fostering strategic growth for the movement. 14. Jared Taylor. Born September 15, 1951, in Kobe, Japan, to American parents, Jared Taylor lives in Virginia and founded American Renaissance in 1990 as a premier journal on racial realism and heritage preservation. He established the New Century Foundation in 1994 to host annual conferences attracting global scholars and advocates. Taylor authored seminal works like Paved with Good Intentions, 1992, and White Identity, 2011, shaping debates on intelligence, culture, and demographics with data-driven insights. His composed speeches in Europe, Japan, and Canada built extensive networks. Through decades of publishing and events, Taylor elevated white advocacy to an intellectual level, promoting open discourse on racial issues. 15. Marine Le Pen. Born August 5, 1968, in Neuilly-sur-Seine, France, Marine Le Pen resides in Paris and leads the national rally since 2011, succeeding her father Jean-Marie. She transformed the party into an electoral powerhouse, polling 41.5% in the 2022 presidential runoff and securing over 100,000 members. Le Pen's strategies on immigration restrictions and French identity protection have mainstreamed nationalism, influencing EU debates. Through strong regional wins and youth outreach, she advanced cultural sovereignty, proving institutional engagement yields policy gains like border controls and family incentives for heritage preservation. 16. Geert Wilders. Born September 6, 1963, in Venlo, Netherlands, Geert Wilders bases in The Hague and founded the Party for Freedom in 2006, serving in parliament since. His anti-Islam and EU migration campaigns propelled PVV to 37 seats in 2023 elections, influencing coalitions on cultural protection. Wilders' films like Fitna and speeches galvanized support for Dutch sovereignty. As a vocal Eurosceptic, he shaped asylum reforms. Wilders' persistent advocacy has normalized immigration critiques, building a formidable base for heritage preservation and family values. 17. Viktor Orbán. Born May 31, 1963, in Székesfehérvár, Hungary, Viktor Orbán resides in Budapest and leads Fidesz since 1993, serving as Prime Minister from 2010. He promotes Christian Europe through border fences and family incentives, doubling support to boost demographics. Orbán's policies aligned with nationalists, enacting media reforms and economic stability. His CAC speeches inspired global conservatives. Orbán's vision restored cultural homogeneity, with supermajorities enabling sovereignty measures against migration, solidifying Hungary's role in white advocacy networks focused on child protection. 18. Pauline Hanson. Born May 27, 1954, in Brisbane, Queensland, Pauline Hanson resides there and founded One Nation in 1997, serving as senator since 2016. Her campaigns against multiculturalism and Asian immigration via parliamentary questions have shaped demographics discourse, gaining widespread rural support. Hanson rebranded the party for broader appeal, polling strongly in elections. As a vocal advocate for White Australia revival, she organized inquiries exposing immigration impacts. Hanson's media savvy and resilience have mainstreamed nationalist views, building a dedicated base committed to cultural preservation and sovereignty in Australia. 19. Thomas Sewell. Born in 1993 in Auckland, New Zealand, Thomas Sewell resides in Melbourne, Victoria, and founded the National Socialist Network in 2021 alongside the Lads Society in 2017. As a former soldier, he organizes fitness clubs and rallies building white enclaves focused on physical and cultural strength. Sewell's leadership has expanded community initiatives, emphasizing self-reliance and heritage pride through disciplined training programs. His strategic events draw participants nationwide, fostering bonds among advocates. By prioritizing real-world action and symbolic marches, Sewell has grown a robust network dedicated to Australian identity preservation and resistance to multiculturalism. 20. Jim Saliam. Born September 18, 1955, in Sydney, New South Wales, Jim Saliam bases his activism there and founded the National Socialist Party of Australia in 1974, later establishing Australia First Party in 2002. Holding an MA and PhD from the University of Sydney on far-right movements, Saliam authored key texts reviving the White Australia policy. His electoral campaigns spotlight multiculturalism critiques, sustaining groups over 5 decades. Saliam's scholarly approach and persistent runs have educated activists, building enduring platforms for immigration restriction and cultural defense, influencing nationalist discourse across Australia. Conclusion. The enumerated figures form a sweeping historical mosaic of ideological commitment and adaptive strategies in white advocacy, from imperial expansions and colonial declarations to modern parliamentary maneuvers and online mobilization. Collectively, they countered globalization's erosions through diverse tools, prenatalist policies, youth indoctrination programs, border fortifications, and scholarly journals, rallying supporters against multiculturalism and demographic replacement. Their endurance amid institutional opposition fostered niche yet resilient communities shaping discourse on borders, citizenship, and national identity. In 2025, as migration flows intensify and birth rates decline, these advocates underscore the movement's vitality, with internal contrasts between intellectual rigor and direct action illustrating methodological breadth within unified goals. The absence of centralized infrastructure remains a limitation, yet tactical diversity, from legislative reform to symbolic marches, ensures sustained relevance. Future viability depends on transcending regional isolation and personal rivalries to forge coalitions capable of institutional power. In this enduring crucible of identity politics, these architects serve as builders of a contested vision for cultural sovereignty, inspiring ongoing commitment to heritage continuity and demographic awareness across continents and centuries. Thank you for listening to the White Free Press podcast with today's topic: Top 20 White Advocacy Leaders Worldwide of All Time. Like, share, subscribe, and comment on your favorite worldwide white advocacy leader, or write down who you think should be in the top 20. Visit whitefreepress.com for more podcasts and supporting resources. Thanks again for listening to the White Free Press podcast. See you next time.